perfect mess is my perfect mess. Perfect mess is my perfect mess.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 43. Let's just jump right into this. Let's just start it off. Today, my kids had their first COVID test. It seems like we just can't get rid of this thing, right? And it seems like no matter what, how many people don't want to talk about it, we have to talk about it because we're all dealing with it. But anyways, real quick story. One of the kids that we play baseball with apparently tested positive for COVID. He's fine. He's healthy. And he's got really, I guess, minor symptoms, but he's fine. But per, protocol, the coaches have to notify the parents and have the kids tested and make sure everybody's okay. So that's what we did today. So we had our little appointment set up. We had to drive through the line, and I tried to document it so I could share it, but they're very strict about getting video and taking pictures and whatnot, so they don't want anybody doing that. So I wasn't able to do that. And as always, I'm drinking tea because I do most of my podcast recording at night. And I've gotten better at not doing coffee because I just have a thing for coffee. I don't know if you're like me, but I love coffee and I can drink it at all hours of the day. And it's not necessarily the best thing to do. So so we did the COVID test. It's a lot different from when it first started. The process that I remember seeing was this really long cotton swab that they would put in your nose, and it would, from what I understand, it would go damn near to your brain, and they would have to do all that. But this time, what they did, it would look like a regular cotton swab that you use for your ears, and they just kind of wiped around my son's inside of their nose and gave him the test, and we're waiting for results. My kids, they're fine. They weren't sick. They're totally okay. That doesn't mean they won't test positive. You know what I mean? They're young, they're healthy, but they have no symptoms. They're fine. We're just, following protocol and doing what the coach asked us to do. And I think we'll get the results tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's that fast. So I'll let you know. So the kids they weren't too happy about, doing it, but they understood that, they understood that, that's just part of the nature of what we're all going through right now. We just have to do it. You know what I mean? When something like that happens. So that was that. I will let you guys know how the test comes back, and then we'll have to deal with that as we need to. I'm sure if they come back positive, we'll have to do the whole quarantine thing. They'll have to be pulled out of school or whatever. But I don't see that happening, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know. Moving forward, so yesterday, what is the day today? The 16th. Okay, so 2 days ago, yesterday, I picked up my son, Jaden, from school. And, he's my youngest. He's my 10-year-old. But both of my kids are really connected with what's going on in the world. And they just know that there are certain things that the adults are doing that are important for what's going on around us. So both of my kids are really locked in. So they know that here in California, we had the governor race or recall. And they knew that we, have some issues in California. It's kind of falling apart. That's my opinion. Someone listening may not feel that way. It's falling apart, in my opinion. So they know from seeing things on the news, and believe it or not, if you're on TikTok, it's all over TikTok. Doesn't matter who you are. You can't scroll through TikTok without coming across a profile of somebody talking about the pandemic or California's governor recall and all this stuff. So they see it and they have a lot of questions. Anyway, the funny part was my youngest, Jaden, as I said, I was picking him up, and he comes out and he says, "Hi, Dad." And I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he goes, "How was your day?" And I go, "How was your day?" He said, "Good." And he goes, and he looks at me and he gives me like this little side look. And he's like, "So?" And I said, "So what?" He goes, "Did he win?" And I said, "Did who win?" I was literally like not connected to what he was saying. He goes, "The governor." "Who won? Did he win?" I said, "Oh yeah, he won. He won his recall, so he's good." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Are you upset?" Because he knew I voted for the recall. I wanted him gone. And I said, "No, I'm not upset." I go, "I wasn't upset when, when we voted for the president. I wasn't upset at all. I don't, we have our opinions, buddy, and we vote because people fought for our right to vote. So we vote. And that's all we have control over. The only thing we have control over is to do our duty, go out and vote, and we just hope and pray that it, goes the way that we hope. And if it doesn't, everything goes as normal, like we normally, have how we've been doing." And he looked a little bummed out, and then he goes, "Yeah, you're right." He goes, "Nothing changes." I go, "Hey, what have you been doing for the whole entire pandemic?" And he said, "Everything: exercising, working, running, um, training, doing schoolwork, having fun, going hiking, going to the water park. I go going to the movies." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, nothing changes. We continue to live our life, continue to go to church, continue to do the things that we need to be doing to make sure that our family survives this, right?" He said, "Yep." I said, "Okay, nothing changes. It doesn't matter who's in office. We are going to navigate this thing, and if when things start changing and they start affecting us, we'll figure out a way to get around it, all right? That's just what we do." But we don't get upset. We don't throw a fit. We just say, "Hey, it's not the way we wanted it to go," but we move on. Do I look mad? He said, "Nope." I said, "Okay, good." So, we got in the car, and that was that. But I really think, before, I know there's some parents that are like, "Man, that 10 years old, that's too young for him to be knowing about this. He should just be worried about being a kid." That's a lot of pressure for a kid. I agree it is. But I would say back in my day, that's a lot of pressure. I'll be 47 next week. And if I were his age back then, um, me knowing all that stuff would have been too much because there was no social media, there was no any of that, there was no internet. So somebody would have had to have been exposing me to this stuff, teaching me about this stuff, letting me watch the news, and then explaining it to me. And that would have been, it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? But the times we're in now, um, you kind of have to jump in front of this stuff if you want them to learn it the way you want them to learn it. Because if you don't, social media is going to jump the gun on you, and it's going to teach your kids these things. It's going to teach your kids about politics. It's going to teach your kids about sex. It's going to teach your kids about drugs. It's going to teach your kids about everything. And I realize that. Both of my kids are young. They don't have phones yet, but they do have iPads. They do use YouTube. They like TikTok. These are the things that they like. So I've had to be proactive and jump in front of these things and teach them. Now, I don't give them all the dirty details that us adults know about with all these candidates and how deep all this corruption goes. I don't give them all that because they don't need to know all that. I give them the basics. Why people want to recall, why I'm voting the way I'm voting, and why people are voting the way they're voting. Simple. That's it. But I give them just enough to kind of let them be in the know. But they don't need to know all the other stuff because at the end of the day, I still want my kids to be kids, and I want them to enjoy themselves and enjoy their lives and just be kids, have fun. All this other stuff going on, it's not for them. They don't need to worry about it. That's for dad to worry about and to make sure that they are protected and we all make it through this crazy time we're going through right now. So that's that. Um, what does a Newsom win mean out here? And trust me, I'm going to get to the main topic here quick. A Newsom win out here means that the mandates are going to continue and they're probably going to get worse. And they already have, to be honest. The day after he won, LA County announced that they were going to do full-on mandates for restaurants, bars, movie theaters, like all these indoor things that you have to have a vaccine passport. So you cannot go to any of these places without showing a vaccine passport. And if you can't go and eat there. You can't spend your money there. And that's in LA County. So I have a lot of friends in LA County that are furious right now. There are some businesses that are apparently filing lawsuits, and there are some that are standing up to this, saying, "I don't give a damn what the governor says. We are still gonna serve our customers. If you want to spend money here, spend money here." So there's a big battle brewing right now, and that's gonna get really, really hefty here in LA County. So that's a big one. The other thing is the border thing that's going on, that they're trying not to show on the news, is really, really bad. It's really bad, especially it's bad here, but I think it's even worse in Texas. We're just having a lot of problems. We've got a huge homeless problem here that I don't have no idea how they're going to resolve. But the biggest thing is the mandates and the vaccines, and requiring to have the vaccines and whatnot, and forcing employers to vaccinate all their employees. That's what's going to happen. That's what having Newsom in office, in my opinion, and from what I know of what he's doing, that's what this means. It hasn't hit Northern California yet. The full-on mandate with regards to the vaccine passport. I know San Francisco is doing it. It hasn't hit my city, but I'm sure it's coming. I don't really go and party. I don't go to clubs. I don't do all that too much. So I haven't felt the effects of that. Where it's going to hit me is when they try to bring it to the kids. Like I always tell you guys, like I told you last podcast, that's where it's going to hit me, because I'm going to be forced to make a decision of pulling my kids out of school and homeschooling them, and then waiting this thing out until it passes. And I'm sure it's coming, because they did that again in LA County. Anybody that's 12 and up has to get the vaccine. And from what I understand, they're going to go 5 and up here pretty soon. So I'm expecting that to come up here to Northern California. And when it does, I'll address it accordingly. And like I always share here on my podcast, and like I always share on my Instagram, I'm going to make the best decision for my family, and regardless of the opinion of anybody. And I think that you should make the best decision possible for you and your family, even if it doesn't align with your friends and people that you love or whatever. Do what is best for your family, okay? And don't feel guilty about it, okay? If you are on board with the vaccine and you want to make sure that your kids get it and you can travel and do all those things, more power to you. This is not your fight. For me, I chose to stand up and make this my fight. And I will not be bowing down to these forced mandates. I'm just not going to do it. It's un-American, in my opinion. It goes against the Constitution. It's just something that I will not stand for. So I have chose to make this my fight. To some of you, that might sound crazy, but to me, it's perfectly in line with how I was raised. So that's where I'm at with that. How is this going to change? Like, I've had people say, well, what's the answer? What's going to change this? How is this going to, people are scared. And I get it. People are scared. I'll tell you when I was scared. I don't say scared. I was a little confused. I was confused and uneasy. It was the first 2 weeks of this the shelter in place last year in March. That was the only time I was like scared. Like I keep saying scared. I think I was scared at first because it was like a zombie land out there. There was nobody out there. It was no cars, no people, and everything was shut down. And it was just like really weird. Nobody knew what the hell was going on, and planes had stopped traveling everywhere. Everything was shut down. So it was really weird. That was the only time that I really felt fear because it was new. But after that 2 weeks, going into the third week, I started saying, well, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to pray and I'm going to get my butt back to work. So how does this change? How can we change things that are going on? I'll tell you, man, and this is just my opinion. I'm no professional on any of this stuff. I speak from my own experience and things that I've dealt with. And I just share it with you guys. And if it helps you guys and it helps you make a decision or whatever it is, cool, cool. I've heard from some of you guys, and I appreciate anything that I talk about here that may help you. But again, I'm going to tell you again, I'm no guru, I'm no professional. I'm speaking from experience. So the stuff I'm sharing with you is just my opinion because of what I've dealt with personally. So how it's going to change these mandates and all that is people have to stand up. People have to stand up, and it has to hit them in the pockets. Money, unfortunately, is the only thing that makes sense to them. It's the only thing that makes these people stop and realize they're making a very big mistake. And that's what's going to need to happen. I don't know that that's going to happen, but the way it happens is you stop going to these restaurants that are requiring vaccine passports. You stop going to the movie theaters that are doing that. You stop going to these concerts. You stop going to these venues. You stop going to these live sporting events. You stop going to these places that are requiring all this until these businesses start to really feel it in their pocket and say, hey, we're trying to follow your rules, but we are losing. We're going under. And we don't know how to stop it, and you're not offering a solution. Does this story sound familiar? Because this is what the story was last year. Only this time, it wasn't requiring passports. They just shut the doors on you. You had no choice. You had to shut the doors. So people were losing money. Now, fast forward to what I'm going to go into now. Same thing, and I'm going to address this. These large corporations are going to do whatever they want. They're going to, majority of them are going to follow the rules because they can. Okay, they have what seems like an endless amount of money to continue to function. All right, even if they lose employees due to not wanting to get the vaccination. So you can't worry about these large corporations. What you need to worry about is these small businesses. These small businesses that are trying to stay afloat. Now, remember what I just said. Last year, these businesses were damn near begging for help, begging to get assistance, begging for customers to please don't go to Amazon. Please don't go to Walmart. Please don't go to Target. Come here. Please don't go to this place. Please shop with me. I'm dying here. I'm not going to make it. This is a family business. So a lot of people like myself went to these businesses and spent money, these small restaurants, and spent money and tried to help them out. Some of them made it, most of them didn't, but we tried. Now what needs to happen is, because so many people are living in fear and just saying, okay, I'm gonna now follow the rules. Now that I'm open, I'm still here, I'm gonna now require the vaccine passport. If this is a small business, and this is a business that was supported by the community, supported by people who were trying to help this family business, and now in turn they're being told they need a vaccine passport in order to shop there and spend money. Those places, in my opinion, do not deserve to stay open. They don't deserve your money, and they deserve to fail and have their doors closed. Because you cannot go from last year asking for help and the community rally behind you to help you out, to keep you afloat. and then tuck your tail the following year and start telling these same people who are customers, patrons of your business, that they can't come and spend their money, that their $20 or whatever amount of money that they're ready to hand you isn't good enough because you don't have the vaccine passport. That's how that works. And when that happens, people, again, step out on a limb and say, I'm going to lose. Oh my God, we're not making any money. I can't pay my lease. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay for my kids' schooling. I can't pay for this. I can't pay for that. When it hits their pockets is when they make the change. Then they come out and say, hey, vaccine passport not required here. You'll see the signs pop up. That is the only way, that's the only language these businesses are going to understand. And the same thing with the government. Because once it's a trickle up effect. Crazy how that works, right? It starts with the customers not going there, then the business losing money, them understanding that their doors are going to get closed, and then them complaining to the government and the governors and the mayors and saying, hey, we're trying, but we're losing. We're losing. We're not going to survive. This is the same thing that goes on with the police force, with the hospitals, with all of these places. What are you going to do when 40% of the police department walks off because they don't want the vaccination? Can you really police a city of almost 2 million people? That's how many people live in the city I'm in. Can you really police a city of almost 2 million people with 40% of your staff off, gone, because they didn't want to do the vaccination? Same thing goes for the hospitals. Can you really take care of a pandemic with 30 to 40% of your staff gone, your RNs gone, because they didn't want the vaccination, but you just fired them? Maybe you can at first, and maybe you'll get some scabs, people who cross over the lines and come on in and get a job. But after a while, it's going to hurt. And what sucks is it's not only going to hurt the hospitals, it's going to hurt the people that really need the help, you and me, if we end up in the hospital, or we need their services, or when grandma just had her car robbed, or there was a home invasion and they need to call the cops and there's not enough people to come. All of this has to happen. It has to hit them in the wallet. That's the only way this thing changes, which is why someone like myself, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm so fired up about this and why I'm so passionate about this. Because I'm trying to get people to understand the only way to do this is not to conform. People think, oh, just do the right thing and we'll get through this. It's been going on for almost 2 years now. You still believe that? It's not the case. You're living in a fantasy world. It's God's honest truth. God's honest truth. Small businesses need to stand up and they need to get out there and say, we can't survive this way. We're not going to enforce it. We need our community to spend money here. And if they don't want your money, you need to not go there. And it's going to suck because these places that have been around for years are going to close their doors. But this is what happens. At some point, you have to decide enough is enough. At some point, you have to say, I've complied with everything. I even got the vaccine. And now you're asking me to do this. I can't. Every one of us has our breaking point. Every one of us. And eventually, these people are going to hit theirs. And maybe then they'll fight. We're not free anymore. I just had this conversation with a buddy of mine today. And he goes, you feel it, man? We're not. It's not a free country no more. It's different. And he's right. We are not free no more. It's changing every day. And I hate addressing it all the time, but I have to because it directly affects me. This is my life. This whole podcast is not about anything else. I don't have people that I interview. I literally spend 30 to 40 minutes to an hour sometimes and more just talking to all of you about my life. And to be honest with you, I don't like talking about this stuff every day, but let's be honest. Every single one of you listening to this has heard this at least once today. Once. From a coworker, from a friend, from a family member, from a stranger, from the news, from the radio, from social media. You've heard it at least once. It's tiring. It's tiring. But that's that. You know, I made a choice that I will not remain silent so you can remain comfortable. I just won't. And I continuously, every day, tell people, if you are not thrilled about the stuff that I talk about on my Instagram and the stories that I share and whatnot, then you should probably unfollow me, because this is my life. I don't go around saying, hey, follow me, and try to get my followers up. I just live my life. And if I get more followers, cool. If I don't, I don't. So I am not going to just sit back and be quiet so people are comfortable. I'm not. I'm going to speak on the things that I'm passionate about. I'm going to speak on the things that affect me and my kids. And if that makes people feel uncomfortable, then so be it. I don't apologize for that, because it's who I am. Period. I will always stand with God, faith, facts, and prayer. Always. God, faith, facts, and prayer. That's what I will stand by. And I was taught to speak up and take a stand when others are fearful. And that's never going to change. And there are a lot of people that are very, very afraid right now. Very afraid. And I am not one of them. My grandfather taught me, you stand up when you see people are afraid. You be the one. And I remember telling him, Dad, Grandpa, but what if someone hurts me? What if someone tries to kill me for speaking up? He says, if you are doing God's work, you are speaking up, and you're doing something positive to help people, spread the word, or be a voice for people who don't have a voice, then that is your time to go. You left this earth doing exactly what God asked you to do. And that's how I look at it. I will not be quiet. I will not. So, anyways, it's a lot of noise, huh? A lot of noise going on right now, man. A lot of noise. It's just hard to find peace, right? I know, I struggle with that. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta fix this light real quick. I gotta struggle with that all the time. It's not easy. There are days that I wake up and I forget to pray, and then my day takes a turn. I'm like, what's wrong with me, man? How come my day is going like this? What's going on? And then I realized, man, you didn't even pray today. You didn't get up. You didn't do your routine. You didn't pray. You didn't do any of that. Like, damn it. So, with that being said, let's get off into the meat of this podcast. Self-seclusion helps clear confusion. I do this a lot. You may have heard me talk about being a maverick, being a loner, and being somebody who just is really just someone who doesn't need a lot of people around him. I've never been that guy. I'm not comfortable in big groups. Don't get me wrong, I've been in them. I have a lot of friends. But it's never been my thing. It's never been my preferred thing. I've always preferred either a small group or just being by myself. Um, so this topic is very, very dear to me. Um, and I want to talk to you guys about how I do these things and how I deal with all the noise, everything that's going on right now. How do I turn the volume down and navigate this thing so I can still be me, and how I can still be a good father and a father who's focused on my kids and pulling through all this and making it through this crazy, crazy pandemic. um, Give me 1 second. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right. So a distraction for most men when we're single is women. I mean, let's just take the cheat off of it. Uh, it is. When you're single, you have these days where you're like, I love being single. I don't gotta report to nobody. I can just live my life. I can do this. I can do that. And then there are those days where things don't go so smooth, and you're laying down, and maybe you want to make that call or send that text or whatever. And then when you do it, you're like, damn it, why did I do that? Shouldn't have did that. And hey, we're human, right? Uh, I don't think there's a person listening to this podcast who, when they were single, didn't do that. Women included. Um, you just were guilty of it. Sometimes being alone can get the best of us, and especially when it comes to physical touch and wanting to be with somebody. Um, Again, I'm speaking very candid because, I struggle with this as well. But let me tell you something that I do. And again, I'm just going to tell you a list of things that I do. Um, and I'm not recommending anybody to do anything. I'm sharing with you how I deal with putting myself in self seclusion so I can get some clarity. Um, and one of the things I do is I block numbers. I block old numbers so I can't call them anymore. So I can't call them in moments of weakness. I do this not so they can't call me. I mean, partially, but I also do it so I can't call them. Um, and that may seem a little extreme, but I do it because I know I'm not where I want to be. I know I'm close. I know I'm handling my business, but I know if I take my focus off just a little bit, I'm gonna fall by the wayside and be in a position that I don't want to be in. And so I put myself on a restriction where I just block these numbers so I can't call them or text them in a moment of weakness. Um, and I do the same thing with my social media. I've unfollowed people, I've muted people, um, just, and it has nothing to do with these people. It has to do with me. I do it to protect me from, you know, getting out of my character and saying something or doing something that I really don't mean. Because when you do that, you also mislead people. And I think that is wrong in itself. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I do. I block numbers. I block profiles. I mute profiles just so I can make sure that I give myself some seclusion, and I take down some of the noise and the temptations. And that's not easy for us men. I know there's some men out there listening going, dude, I can't do that because I need to be able to make that call or that late night text. I get it. I used to be there. It wasn't very long ago that I was still there. Um, but I just realized I can't focus when I have those distractions. I can't. So that's something that I do. Another thing that I do is I've gotten better at not feeling obligated to return a call when I'm struggling to hold on to what little piece I may have for that day. I used to feel bad and feel like I needed to return every voicemail call that I had, every text message, Even on the days when I'm really dealing with some personal stuff. I felt like, oh, I don't want this person to think I'm mad. I don't want this person to be on my voicemail saying, dude, I saw you on Instagram. I saw you. I know you read my text. I used to be that guy who worried about people doing that. But what I've done now is I don't feel obligated to return calls or text messages or emails or DMs or whatever if I'm not in my right place, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm struggling to hold on to my peace for that day, I'm not going to return that call because I don't need something else going on. I don't need to return that DM. I don't need to return that text. I just need my space. And I don't feel guilty about that anymore. I don't apologize. I don't. What I do is the next day, I'll say, hey, yesterday was kind of crazy for me. Got your message, but what's going on? And if people get upset about that, then let them be upset. Because this is about you. This is about you clearing your head and finding some peace. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing because nothing is going to go well for you in life if you don't have peace. If you have nothing but chaos going on, everything is going to go all over the place. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things that you don't want to do. You're going to hurt people. You're going to ruin relationships. All of that's going to happen. So you got to find your peace. All right. So that's the second thing that I do. With work, I throw myself into work. When my kids are not with me, part of my seclusion is I lock in and I just work. I focus on the task. What am I trying to do when I work? What am I trying to get ahead for? Is it to buy a new car? Is it to buy a house? Is it to buy real estate? Is it to invest? Is it to pay a bill off, a debt that I have? What is it? I lock in on that and I turn everything else off because my kids are with their mom. I turn everything else off and I just lock in on work. And I don't take any calls from friends that I know just want to shoot the shit on the phone. I don't, entertain, hey, you want to go to the bar? We're going to go watch the game. I don't do any of that. Hey, you want to go mountain bike riding? I don't do any of that. I just work. Just work. That's it. And that is part of self-secluding yourself from people and dealing with your own stuff and finding some peace. Believe it or not, because I work for myself and I have a choice of what hours I work and how long I work and how much money I'm going to make or whatever, that is empowering to me without any outside issues. So that's number 3. The other thing I do is I exercise. I go for a run. Maybe you're not a runner. Maybe you're like, Ray, I hate running. Go figure. Have you seen me posting on my Instagram my mile time? Sometimes it's 9:56. Other times it's 13 minutes. I'm no crazy runner here. I just run because it makes me feel good. I like how I feel when I'm done. I've said this before, I like the feeling of accomplishment. I like how my body feels. I like how I'm breathing. I like how it just feels like everything is hitting. All the cylinders in my body are hitting. I like how I feel. I like zoning out. Sometimes I put a podcast on when I'm running. Sometimes I don't wear nothing in my ears. I just run. I just run. And I enjoy it. What could help you make running more enjoyable? Go somewhere you've never ran before. Go somewhere that has a view. Run around a lake, a beautiful lake. Go somewhere that just has a beautiful view that you've always driven by. You're like, man, I'm gonna go there one day. Go there. Just put your running shoes on and jog. It is magical. It does something. Turn your phone off. Don't answer no calls, no text messages. Don't listen to nothing. Maybe listen to a podcast that's helping you learn something or an audiobook. Turn the music off and just zone and go. That helps me a lot. All right? You don't have to be a runner. You can walk. That's how I started. When I get past my 3rd mile, I'm a run-walk guy. That's just my nature. So there's that. The other thing I do, that was number, what was that? That was number 4. Number 5, the next thing I do is I read. I read. You know why? Because reading takes me to a whole other land. Like it just, when I get off into a good book, I don't even feel like I'm at home. I don't feel like I'm where I'm at. I feel like I'm in the story, especially if it's a really good book. So reading, pick something that you're interested in. Maybe pick something that, a biography on someone that you really look up to, or maybe a self-help book or something. Just find something that interests you and just read it. Read 10, 15, 20 pages a day and just take off. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how a book and reading a good book can get you off into a whole other place. I know, I was the guy, same guy, and you're probably listening. I hate reading. I fall asleep a page into it. I know. But if you've ever seen me walking around with that green little army pack that I carry around, there's always a book in there. And what I do is I carry that book, the current book that I'm reading, and any time throughout my day, I'll knock out a page or two if I have some downtime. Throughout my day, I'll do it. Some days I knock out 20 pages in a sitting. Some days I knock out one, and then I go 3 hours later and I'll read another 2 pages. Then 4 hours later, I'll read another 4 pages. Just carry a book around with you. And if it's a good book, it's something that you're learning, bring a highlighter, bring a pen, underline stuff. That's another way that I disconnect. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Number 6 is I write. I sometimes journal, but I write music. And honestly, when I'm secluded, that's when I usually write my best music. Now, I haven't recorded in a while, but I still write. And I always tell people I'm not retired from recording music and putting it out. Now I write and record when I feel like I have something meaningful to say. So I write, I write all the time. And if maybe you don't write music, maybe you're like, what do I write? Grab a notebook, go to Target, go to Dollar Store, grab a notebook, and just start journaling, talking about the things that are going on up here in your brain, things that are going on in life, and just journal, just talk about things. You'd be surprised how writing stuff out makes you feel, all right? All of these things you do, turn the phone off, just do it with no interruptions, by yourself. Same thing with writing and reading. Go somewhere. Go if you don't want to do it at home or in the car. Go somewhere nice. Go to a park. Go on a short hike that'll put you in, at the top of a mountain, and just sit there and read or write. That will inspire you to want to do that. It'll inspire you to want to read and write. You go somewhere that has a nice view. It's beautiful. You're like, man, it's peaceful here. I can read now, or I can journal now. Trust me, it works. I do it. I've done it. I still do it. Number 7. This is a big one for me. I pray and I stay connected to someone from my circle of believers. All right? I do. I pray all day. And you're like, all day? How's that possible? I say a series of prayers throughout my day. I could be driving and say, Lord, thank you for this. Thank you for this. Boom, boom, boom. Lord, use me how you feel that you need to use me to help somebody. Use me however you feel fit today. You know what I mean? I come home, I pray. I pray over my food. I pray over my kids. I do it all day. I say a series of small prayers throughout my day. That's what I do. So I pray and I stay connected to somebody who's a believer at my church. A brother, a sister, whoever it is. Just to bounce ideas off. But usually it's just prayer. It's just prayer. Prayer can be like meditating. For those of you who are people who meditate, prayer can be like meditation. Because you're literally just sitting there, quiet, nothing going on, no sounds, no nothing, and you're praying in your head, talking. And that's what I do, and that helps me a lot. All right. Let's see. Number 8. Take yourself on trips, man. Take yourself on trips. Go on a hiking trip. Go to the beach. Go to the movies. Go for a drive, go on a staycation, do it and enjoy it. A lot of people don't do these things by themselves because they feel weird about it. They feel like, oh, I should, guys, oh, I need to bring a girl with me, or women, man, I wish a guy would take me. Take yourself. Learn to be okay being alone. Learn to pull yourself back so you can find some clarity. One of the ways to do that is do all these things. Do these things. They help you. You don't have to do all of them, but pick one that fits you and give it a shot. I'm telling you, these are all things that I've tried at one time or another. And usually taking a drive is big for me. I just love driving. I zone out and I just drive. Sometimes I don't have anything on. I just drive and I think. I talk to my phone. I'm like, hey, I don't want to say Siri because my phone's gonna go off right now. But I say, hey Siri, take a note. And she'll take a note, and then it's usually something that I'm gonna talk about on the podcast. Um, I've gone on plenty of hikes by myself. I enjoy them. I go to the movies a lot by myself. I just do little things like these, like I'm talking to you about, by myself to just help myself clear my head and get readjusted. Obviously, during these times that I'm doing all these things, these are times when my kids are with their mom, and I take my time to go handle that. A lot of people think, and I think even maybe early on, their mom may have thought that when the kids aren't with me, I'm running around trying to meet somebody, trying to go on dates, and that's not the case. I have gone on dates. I have, done stuff like that, but it's not that. That is not the thing that comes to my brain the minute my kids aren't with me. Like, it's not like, okay, I gotta make a call. I gotta see if I can go on dinner. I can go out and have drinks with this person. It's not the first thing I think about. The first thing I think about is what can I do by myself. It's just the way I function, man. Number 9, brainstorm. Brainstorm on business ideas. Brainstorm on goals. Maybe you don't want to start a business. Maybe you just have goals in your life. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, grab some tea. I love coffee and tea, and just sit down. Maybe play a little music that doesn't have any words, and it's just music. And just on a piece of paper, write down the goals. Write down stuff that you want to do. Write down, the amount of money you want to save. Write down the amount of money you need to make a certain move. Do all these things. Write them down. Put your goals down. And then pin them up somewhere. That's another way to just pull back from everybody and just really focus on taking care of you and locking in. If you notice, everything that I'm talking about requires you to be by yourself. Requires you to give yourself the utmost attention without anything else going on. All of these things are things that I've done myself. And I'm telling you, I write my goals down all the time because they change. I make it a point to hit them and add new ones. Right now, because like you guys know my car situation from a month and a half ago, I got put so far behind. Now I've had to put some goals back on the list because I need to re-hit them so I can get them back off my list and do some more. So that's where I'm at. Moving along, let's see. Number 10. This is more of a tip that I want to give you guys. During these times of seclusion, where you're looking to clear confusion of all the stuff going on around you, whether it be the pandemic or life or your ex or your current relationship or situationship or your kids or your job, whatever is going on in your life, everything that I just told you about, I personally stay away from alcohol during these moments. All right? And I'll tell you why. Now, again, this is just how I deal with it. You can deal with it. Maybe you're stronger than me. Maybe you're like, all right, I'm good. I can drink whenever. When I'm depressed, I can drink when I'm strong. I can drink whenever. For me, what I have found is when I do these things to seclude myself from everybody and take myself back, try to reel myself back in and find some clarity, I found that if I stay away from alcohol, I have a better chance of staying clear and getting the most out of these moments. When I haven't done that and I included alcohol, I found myself stumbling back into old memories. Memories of when I was married, memories of when I was younger. Man, I had so much potential. I should have been this, I should have been that. Memory of when I had more friends, memories of when I dated so and so and how I messed that up and how I messed up the next one and the next one and the next one. Memories of how my family used to be, memories of how my family used to all live in California and we were so close. Memories of just the past. And 9 times out of 10, memories of things you cannot change. They're done. And for me, when I incorporated alcohol in these moments of self-seclusion, that's what happened. It defeated the purpose of me doing what I was doing. So I stopped. I took it out. I said, I can't try to find clarity and be boozing it up. I can't. That's not how I work. Now, you may be different than me. But for me personally, I can't function that way. It defeats the purpose for me. So that's a tip I kind of want to give you, because that was an important one I had to learn. Finally, just do all these things alone. No companion. It's powerful when you do it alone. That's why it's called seclusion, self-seclusion. Because no one's forcing you to be secluded. You are imposing seclusion on yourself because you need a reset. You need to find some clarity. All right? It's so powerful. And I really wanted to share this episode with you guys because everything that's going on right now, I think it's very important for us to do this often. Let me be clear. When it's time for it to be done, though, it's done. We don't do this forever, okay? It's not something you do forever. And I don't want any of you to get confused by that. Because we're human and we were not made or meant to be alone, okay? We weren't created to be alone. We need companionship, we need connection, we need conversation and more. We need all those things. So do this for however long you need to do it, however long you need to get that reset, and then reel it back in and get back to life, okay? I want to be clear on that. This is not something where you do this forever and you just seclude yourself. That's bad for you, all right? We need friendship. We need family. We need people in our lives who are going to nurture us, who are going to, encourage us to be better. We need positive people in our lives, okay? And the only way you do that is you got to communicate, you got to be open, you got to talk, okay? But with everything that I just talked about, do that often to help yourself out. I do it all the time. And it's, to be honest with you, the only thing that has gotten me through this is doing that whole list of things. I don't do them all at one time, obviously you can't. But doing at least one of those things every now and again has helped me out. Has helped me out. It's gotten me through this crazy pandemic, and it's helped me in life. It's helped me find peace. There are going to be people in your life that don't understand that. There are going to be people in your life that are offended. There are going to be people in your life that say you changed. And congratulations, because you're supposed to change. All right? If you're not changing, something's wrong. All right? You're supposed to change. Don't get that messed up. We are supposed to change. Okay? You are not supposed to be the same person you were in high school. You're not supposed to be the same person you were in college. You're not supposed to be the same person you were before marriage. You're not supposed to be the same person you were while you were married. And you're not supposed to be the same person you are when you had kids or before you had kids. All of those things, change comes. All right? Doing something like this, some people are not going to understand. Some people are not going to understand that you're not going to apologize when you don't return a call. Okay? And you don't need to explain that to anybody. You don't need to say, hey, well, I was having a bad day. You don't need to do any of that. Hey, I was going through some stuff yesterday, but I'm here now. What's up? And if they're mad, let them be mad. Let them go. That's a hard reality. It's something that's hard for some people to do, but trust me, there are some people that just are not going to understand that you need to find clarity, you need to find peace, or things don't work. And when you do that, that doesn't always include people. It includes you. That's it. So I hope, we're coming in on an hour. I hope, this helps. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Again, I am not here to tell you how to live life. I'm not here to give you advice and tell you this, tell you that. I'm no guru. I'm no professional. I don't have a degree in coaching life and all that. All I'm telling you is from experience in my life. These are the things that have helped me navigate through some very noisy times. All right. If any of them help you, if any of these things I talked about help you, great. I'm happy. I'm happy. It makes me happy. Don't get me wrong. I get DMs from people all the time, and people saying, "Dude, I loved episode such and such. Man, that thing really hit me in the feels, and it made me look at my situation a whole lot different." I appreciate you guys when you send stuff like that. But that's really all I have. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys are healthy. I hope you guys are making the right decisions for your family, regardless of what anybody outside your family has an opinion on or whatever. I hope you're making the decisions that are going to make your family better. All right. That's pretty much all I have. Let me do the rundown. You can visit my website at raymolina.com. I have merchandise, current books that I'm reading. You can listen to the podcast there. Everything's there. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys' support. I will have some new gear dropping, some new T-shirts, and I will be running ads on Instagram and Facebook for those, so you'll be seeing them. So those will be dropping here pretty soon. So that's raymolina.com. My Instagram is It's Ray Molina. My TikTok is It's Ray Molina. And the podcast Instagram is The Perfect Mess Pod. All right. I don't really push donations, but people have wanted to donate and have donated. If that is you, I use Cash App. It is $ It's Ray Molina. I appreciate anybody that offers to do that. Thank you so much. What else do I have? I think that is it. Please, hey, make sure to, if you like this episode, if it hits you, if there's some value to it, please share it. Please comment on it. Please review it, and like always, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, or follow on Spotify. And please help me spread the word. All right. This has been episode 43 of the Perfect Mess podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ray Molina. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy out there. Be safe. And like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it's a mess. But for me, it is the perfect mess. I love you. Peace. God bless.
Perfect mess is my perfect mess. Perfect